The market for full-size lights in the $80 to $150 range is crowded. A recent addition to the market is the Nightstick TWM-30 with 1200 lumens and about 9400 candela. Is there room for another full-size light? Well, let's find out. I'm Shan Hemphill with Works, and we build holsters for pistols with lights. That is why we're so interested in providing you with the best light data. Nightstick states that the TWM-30 provides a clearly defined halo for peripheral illumination in CQB situations. It means it's got a whole lot of flood. We put this light up against one of our current favorite lights, the Streamlight TLR-1HL, as they are both similar sizes, similar prices, and both use two CR123A batteries. As usual, we have both practical and lab tests. First up is our creepy guy in the warehouse test. The Nightstick TWM-30 provides a wide field of view, but less of a hotspot than the TLR-1HL. It also seems to have a cooler color temperature. Our subject is more clearly visible and skin tones have more contrast with the TLR-1HL. Now, in favor of the TWM-30, the shelves that are on the right and some of the beams are more visible when using this weapon light. After hitting the warehouse, we hit the range after dark. First up is our photonic barrier test, trying to punch through the truck headlights to see the target in the passenger seat. Here the Nightstick did a superior job illuminating the environment, but did not illuminate the truck interior as well as the TLR-1HL. While the target could be seen with both lights, the TLR-1HL has a brighter hotspot, which shows more contrast for the passenger side and does splash onto the driver's seat enough to tell that no one is there. After that, we had a subject move under a tree at about 40 yards. While the camera didn't pick up the subject in either video, he was visible to the human eye with both lights. The TLR-1HL, with its brighter hotspot, did provide better visibility of the subject. The TWM-30 performed better than expected, given that it has less of a bright hotspot. But it did allow the operator to see the subject, and our subject reported that the Nightstick seemed almost as bright as the Streamlight. Now, if you're interested in weapon lights, we have a lot more content coming. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell down below. Now, the Nightstick did perform well at the range, illuminating the targets properly. But when we went back and reviewed the footage, we did notice that it had a flicker on every shot. So I examined the light, and it appeared that the screw for the battery door was a little loose. I would guess that I didn't fully tighten that screw down and it loosened up during use. Now, this is one reason why I prefer a latching style battery door rather than a screw down one. They are either latched or they are not latched with no real in between. We did subsequently shoot in our indoor range and did not experience any flickering. I believe that the issue is my fault completely, but it is something for you to be aware of using this or a similar light that uses a screw-in style. Now we went ahead and did our testing at the lab. First up is our candela at angle testing. Lumens measure the total light output, which can be focused into candela, but it can also be dispersed into a wide flood by the light. It is up to a manufacturer to decide whether to build towards more flood or more candela. Now we emphasize candela over lumens, but both are important. Pistol lights need a mix of both. Now, to get a wide, strong flood, a light needs a lot of lumens, and this is simply math and physics. You need to get a lot of light out there to get it across a much broader area. This is the direction that Nightstick took with the TWM-30. When we take a look at the chart, we see that the TLR-1HL has a higher candela than the TWM-30, at 0 and 5 degrees. Then at 10 degrees and further out, the Nightstick has higher output. This backs up what we saw initially in the warehouse. Now we also captured total lumen data for the TWM-30 and compared it to the TLR-1HL. For fun, we also mixed in the previous measurements of the TWM-850XL, which came before this current version of the Nightstick. This data shows that the new Nightstick performs quite similarly to the TLR-1HL and significantly better than the older TWM-850XL. And this light runs for literally hours. We finally turned it off at 427 minutes of total runtime, and this was when it was still putting out about 3.5 lumens. It's great that Nightstick caught up to the Streamlight TLR-1HL with this TWM-30, but we do not see it having a significant output advantage versus that established and proven Streamlight. Now you can see these charts plus a ton of other data on lights at lowlightdefense.com. The light color from the TWM-30 is towards the cool end of the spectrum. The previous Nightstick we measured, the TWM-850XL, came in at 6370 Kelvin. The TWM-30 comes in at 6600 Kelvin. This is a confirmation of what we observed in our practical testing. The cooler light is not necessarily a bad thing, but it is susceptible to environmental conditions such as smoke, mist, and fog. In addition, lights that are further away from pure white, which is typically considered to be around the 5500 to 5700 range, those lights tend to provide not as good color contrast back to the operator. I think this Nightstick color is acceptable, but I would prefer more of a pure white or maybe even a little bit warmer than the pure white. Switches are important because they're how we turn on and off the light. We must interact with the light switches. We want switches that can activate a light in either momentary or constant mode. Now, strobe is another story. Some people want it and some do not. I never use strobe, nobody in the shop uses strobe, but I can see why Nightstick wants to have a light that can enable strobe if desired, but can also have it disabled. Thankfully, the TWM-30 switches are exceptional. These switches are similar to the Nightstick TCM-550XL and the Streamlight TLR-7A if you're familiar with those. They're unidirectional and ambidextrous. A short tap on the switch activates constant mode. Tap the switch and it turns on and stays on. A longer hold activates momentary, where you hold the switch and the light stays on for as long as my finger is on the button. When I let off, the light turns off. I noticed something nice with these switches. When the light is on constant mode, I can press down and hold. The light flickers briefly, but stays on and goes back into momentary mode. This means I can switch to momentary mode if desired after turning on constant. Nightstick has obviously spent a bunch of time developing these switches. They have great feel. I didn't time the momentary gate, which is the length of time you have to hold down the light for it to be in momentary mode. It felt suitably short. You don't want the gate to be too long because it doesn't allow you to use momentary to get on and off, just splashing the light out there for a very brief time. The switches are where I expect them to be and provide a click that I can both hear and feel. Now this light can also be locked out so it won't turn on, and it does allow the disabling of strobe. For whatever pistol and light you run, you need a holster. Nightstick advertises that the TWM-30 fits in all TWM holsters, such as holsters made for the TWM-850XL. However, finding a TWM holster seems a little difficult. I checked 6 of the holster companies that Nightstick lists on their website, and none of them provided a TWM holster. Now, we have verified that the Glock 1719 family and the Sig P320 family with the TLR-1, those holsters do fit the TWM-30. If you'd like to purchase one of those, check the link in the description below. The TWM-30 has a lot going for it. It is similar to the TLR-1HL, but provides more flood. It also provides great electronic switches. However, you should be aware that holster availability is limited, and be sure to fully tighten the battery door after you install new batteries. Now, we've heard that law enforcement agencies are requesting more of the flood like the Nightstick TWM-30 has. And we've said that we prefer a little bit higher candela output such as the TLR-1HL. What do you think is better for your situation? Please comment down below.